"Ma'am, this lounge is reserved for actual clients." She said it with ice in her voice, like protocol wrapped in prejudice. No hesitation, no curiosity. Lisa Newman didn't glance twice, but Vanessa Clark felt every syllable, not as surprise, as confirmation. Because when a black woman walks into luxury without apology, the room always checks her credentials. Ever been mistaken for someone who doesn't belong in your own empire? Stay with me. What happens next will make you question everything about power. The air inside the Summit Wealth Bank lounge was cool, almost smug. White marble, brushed gold, and polished silence. Vanessa stepped through its double-glass doors without a pause, her dark jeans pressed, her cashmere top the color of storm clouds. She didn't dress like a mogul this morning. On purpose. No pearls, no glam team, no logo screaming worth. Just her presence. And that was enough to make people uncomfortable. She requested access to the private lounge for a $5 million withdrawal. The teller waved her in like it was routine. But the moment she took her seat, that illusion shattered. Lisa appeared fast, like smoke chasing a spark. Her tailored suit, tidy bob, and stiletto confidence screamed control. She didn't introduce herself. She just leaned across the desk like Vanessa had set off a silent alarm. "We'll need to verify the source of your funds." Flat voice. Cold eyes. Vanessa didn't blink. She'd seen that same look at 23, when her bank flagged her first commission as suspicious. At 26, when she'd been over-collateralized and still labeled high risk. Now, with over $8 billion in holdings, that look hadn't evolved. It had just learned to smile while condescending. Without a word, Vanessa slid a document across the table. Lisa didn't touch it. A voice cut through the moment. "Don't hold up the line, sweetheart." Edward Pierce, salt and pepper arrogance in a Hugo Boss suit, swaggered past, brushing the edge of her tablet with a flick of his hand. It dropped to the floor. Light impact, loud insult. Vanessa didn't rise, didn't react. He didn't look back. From the far side of the room, Natalie Wells crossed her arms. "That's a lot of cash. Could have lifted it from somewhere." Not loud, but deliberate, enough to make two other clients look up. One whispered. Another frowned. Vanessa's response was low and controlled. "Run my name," Lisa scoffed. "You're not registered. This isn't a walk-in center." A phone screen lit up in the back. Keith Morris, a tech startup founder in designer sneakers, started filming. That tiny red light cast a shadow bigger than any chandelier in the room. "Please don't," Vanessa said, still seated. "We correct this with evidence, not exposure." From a nearby chair, Calvin Holt stood up. His voice was soft, steady. "Brother, this moment deserves more than a viral clip." Keith hesitated. Vanessa nodded. "Say it with truth, not views." The room quieted, but the tension stayed. Maya Reed, seated beside Vanessa, clenched her fists. Her voice barely escaped her lips. "This is wrong." Vanessa turned slowly. "Then say it. Say it loud enough for them to hear you." Maya rose. Her voice cracked, but her words didn't. "She's not the problem. You are." Natalie rolled her eyes. "Security's ready." Near the pillar, Edward grinned. "You think she's got that kind of money sitting here? Try the pawn shop, sweetheart." He slid a folded slip across the floor like a dare. Maya picked it up. "Read it out loud." "Go to a pawn shop." Someone gasped. Another clutched their child closer. The room stopped pretending it was neutral. Vanessa straightened. "You're not just disrespecting me. You're torching the values this bank was built on." Lisa smiled. "You're not a client. You're a fake." Vanessa reached for her phone. "Carla," she said. "Activate Protocol 6. Natalie leaned deeper into the wall, her arms folded like a verdict already reached. Her eyes sliced through Vanessa's outfit before her words did. "That kind of request?" she said, voice steady, mouth curled. "No real client makes that move, especially not dressed like that." Vanessa remained still. No defense. No apology. She looked down at her soft sweater, her faded denim, her clean loafers. This wasn't armor. It was deliberate. Human. The opposite of performance. And that's what made them squirm. Maya rose again, voice firmer now. You're all out of line. You don't even know her. Edward laughed. One of those short, dismissive bursts that reek of familiarity. We know the game. Bet she found someone's login and figured she could walk in here and empty it out like a birthday gift. Robert shifted again, his discomfort becoming visible. His mouth opened, but courage hadn't arrived yet. Keith held his phone low, eyes darting toward Vanessa. I should be filming this. She looked at him, her voice gentle but unmoved. We use truth, not lenses. Calvin stepped forward beside her, arms relaxed but presence firm. If you want the room to change, speak inside it. Don't outsource it to a screen. Keith nodded slowly. You're right. But it doesn't feel real. Maya swept her gaze across the lounge. It is. This is what they do to us. Natalie's breath caught. You're making a scene. Vanessa's voice came clean, clear, and cold. You called security because I dared to exist. That's the only scene here. Robert finally found his voice, shaky, uncertain. Do you have anything to verify your account? The words felt like they were dragging guilt with them. Vanessa didn't answer. She dialed again. Carla, she said. We've reached escalation. Move to phase 2. Carla's voice responded, crisp and composed. Confirmed. I've logged the language used. Lisa's call to security is time-stamped. Internal audit has eyes on this. They'll hear every word, Vanessa replied. Robert stood straighter, caught between a crumbling loyalty and the truth blooming right in front of him. Lisa snapped at him. Don't encourage this. She's here for chaos. Edward jumped back in. Probably live-streaming some pity stunt, playing the system for clout. But Keith had stepped forward now, the phone still in his hand but lowered completely. She's not the one filming. I was, and I stopped. Because she asked us to use words. You ever try that? Natalie's voice cracked as she blurted. Security's almost here. For what? Maya barked. She made a withdrawal request, not a threat. Lisa's tone spiked. You're all being played. Nobody like her walks in and claims $500,000. Wake up. Vanessa stood now, finally. Calm. Rooted. Director. You're not panicking because I'm a fraud. You're spiraling because I'm real, Lisa hissed. Is that supposed to scare me? No, Vanessa said. Just reflect you. Carla's voice cut back in. Vanessa, escalation has been flagged to corporate ethics. Bias indicators logged. We've cross-referenced the 2023 acquisition docs. Your ownership is now tied to your profile in real time. Keep the line open, Vanessa said. Lisa scoffed. You think your buzzwords scare me? Robert turned to her. Lisa, what if she's telling the truth? Lisa glared at him like betrayal had just become airborne. Vanessa faced the room. You questioned my presence. You questioned my name. You called security, accused me of theft, judged my clothes, and did it all with an audience. She paused. And I'm still here. Think about that. The room froze. Even Edward stayed quiet. Maya stepped to Vanessa's side. What now? Vanessa said simply. Now we wait. Because the truth is coming. And it's not asking for permission. Vanessa stayed seated, arms gently folded over her tablet, her voice a calm threat. You just filed a false report. That's a federal offense. I hope your courtroom shoes are polished. Lisa Newman leaned against the espresso machine like she ran the building, arms crossed, eyes hard. That's not how this works, she said with a bitter smile. We protect the brand, not whoever wanders in with a story. Then, without looking back, she barked at Robert. Get her out. Now. Robert didn't move. He glanced at Vanessa, then Natalie, then back at Lisa. She hasn't even raised her voice, he said quietly. Is that what's making you nervous? Edward stepped forward as if summoned by tension. She's laundering money. That's obvious. I've got a consultation waiting. I'm a priority client. He held up a platinum business card like a badge. This woman doesn't belong here. This entire act is a distraction. Lisa wasn't done. She stormed behind Vanessa's chair, her tone now aggressive. Show us your account, right now. If you're legit, prove it. Pull it up in front of everyone. It wasn't a request. It was theater. Vanessa looked up, calm, unreadable. Footsteps approached from the entrance. Tyler Moss entered. Security lead. 34. Uniform crisp. Posture military. "What's the issue here?" he asked. Natalie pointed at Vanessa. "She's refused verification. She's using her phone to escalate. It's suspicious." Tyler nodded and moved to her side. "I need your device in your bag." He didn't wait. When she didn't move immediately, he knocked her purse off the chair next to her. "You're being detained for non-compliance." Calvin stepped in, firm and focused. "She hasn't broken a law. You can't do that." Maya gripped her phone tighter but didn't record, just held it, knuckles white. "This is what happens," she whispered. "Even when you do everything right." Vanessa turned to Tyler, voice low and direct. "Touch me again, and you won't just lose your job. You'll be paying legal fees until retirement." Tyler smirked. "You don't belong here." That sentence pierced the air like glass breaking. Calvin stepped between them. "I'm not interfering. I'm protecting a client." Keith rose now, lifting his phone. "This has to be seen." Vanessa's voice cracked, not from fear, but fury. "Don't record. Speak. Let them hear us." Keith hesitated, then lowered the phone. "Say it louder." Vanessa turned to Lisa. "You demand my history like I owe you proof of existence. But I've earned more than anyone in this room, including you." Her phone buzzed. Carla's voice came through. "Phase 6 is fully active. Lisa's record flagged. Edward's prior warning triggered. One more incident and corporate suspends access. Audit logs from 2023 now tied to your ownership profile." Vanessa said softly, "Let it all run." Lisa leaned forward. "You won't win." "I already have," Vanessa replied. "Wealthy, black, unbothered." "That's the part you can't process." Robert stepped back, whispering, This isn't what I signed up for." Natalie, still holding the landline, continued. "We have a possible fraud. High amount." Refused ID clients began whispering. A man stood near the window, shaking his head. Then Robert's voice broke through. "I have to say something." Everyone turned. Lisa's eyes flared. "Don't." "She didn't even check the account," Robert said. "Natalie didn't want verification. She said bringing in security would shut her down quicker." Natalie gasped. "You're lying." "I was there." Edward barked. "You're betraying us for her?" Vanessa stood, voice rising for the first time. "Then call the bluff." She stepped forward. "I'm Vanessa Clark, Chief Executive Officer of Summit Enterprises, owner of this institution." "Back up," Maya shouted. "You all heard her. She owns this place." Tyler paused. The tension on his face tightened. His gaze bounced from Lisa to Vanessa, the certainty behind his badge visibly cracking. Then, the double doors opened. 2 police officers entered the lounge, polished boots striking marble, authority carried in quiet steps. The older one scanned the room, eyes landing on Vanessa. "We got a report of attempted fraud," he said evenly. "Someone want to explain?" Natalie stepped forward, chin high. "She came in claiming to be a high-net-worth client," she said. "Requested $500,000 in cash. No ID, no verification. This could be federal theft." Vanessa didn't move. "I'll speak," she said. "But not yet." A new voice broke the air. "They're lying." Everyone turned. Zara Brooks stood near the frosted divider, denim jacket still zipped, posture small but rising. 24. Black. Forgotten until now. "They did it to me too," she said. 2 weeks ago. I came to open a business account. Natalie didn't even check my EIN. Zara pulled out her phone. "I recorded the conversation. I didn't post it. But maybe it's time." Gasps rippled. Tyler stepped back. One of the officers turned to Natalie. "Did you know she owns this bank?" Natalie paled. She didn't at the time. Vanessa turned slowly. "I've owned it for nearly 2 years, so that's either a lie or a confession." Keith raised his phone but didn't hit record. She didn't need to yell or prove anything. She became the evidence. Calvin nodded toward the officers. "You're watching the collapse of a system that's protected people like Lisa and Natalie, and I think you know it." The older officer nodded. "No arrests today, but there will be a full report." Carla's voice cut through from Vanessa's phone. "Zara's complaint was suppressed by Natalie. Marked ineligible. That breaks policy 4.3. "And Lisa?" Vanessa asked. "She signed off on the rejection," Carla replied. Vanessa turned toward Lisa, her voice sharp. You told me to leave, called me a fraud. Now you want to blame her paperwork? Lisa stammered. You dressed like someone who didn't belong. That wasn't judgment, Vanessa said. That was bias. Edward rolled his eyes. This is all getting blown up. I'm leaving. No, you're not, Maya snapped. You were part of it. You people, Edward said, always need to be loud. Keith stepped forward. You mean the woman who owns the bank? Calvin blocked Edward's path. Walk out, but not before they take your statement. Edward sat back down, silent. Vanessa turned to the officers. I'd like to resolve this in-house. No arrests. I want the room to hear itself. One officer asked, You're sure? Completely. She turned to Zara. You're brave. From now on, your account will be opened by Summit's executive board. No fees, no questions. Calvin looked at her. You didn't just stop this. You exposed it. Vanessa met his eyes. Now I'll dismantle it. Lisa muttered. This wasn't supposed to happen. Robert, beside her, sighed. It always was. We just didn't think we'd get caught. Under Summit Compliance Directive 4B, Carla's voice echoed, firm and official. This exchange is now part of a live HR audit. You may proceed, Ms. Clark. Vanessa didn't smile. She turned, steady as stone, and faced the staff head-on. Lisa Newman, terminated, effective immediately, for racial misconduct, authority abuse, and obstruction of service. Lisa opened her mouth, but her voice failed her. 10 minutes ago, it had filled the lounge. Now it vanished. Robert Clean, dismissed. Not just for complicity, but for silence. You stood there while a client was profiled, accused and degraded. Robert didn't argue. His chin dropped, shame answering for him. Natalie Wells, Vanessa said, her tone sharpened. Terminated for falsifying a client risk file, triggering false police action, and burying racial misconduct reports. You didn't fail the system, you corrupted it. Natalie gasped, voice cracking. I didn't know it was you. Vanessa's eyes didn't soften. And if it were someone else? Natalie's mouth opened. Closed. She said nothing. Tyler Moss, Vanessa continued. Fired for unlawful detainment, excessive force, and failing to defuse a nonviolent situation. Tyler didn't argue. He turned and walked slowly toward the wall, steps heavier than before. And Edward Pierce, permanently banned from every Summit-affiliated institution. Documented bias, harassment, disrespect. Edward jumped up. You can't ban me! My portfolio is bigger than half this bank! Maya's voice rang out, full of fury. Not today, it's not. Vanessa lifted her hand. This place doesn't exist to validate egos. It exists to protect those who walk in expecting dignity. The applause was real, not performative. It thundered through the room like a tide finally turning. Calvin rose, giving a respectful nod. That was justice. Liv. Zara stood quietly, tears glistening. I never thought I'd be seen like this. Vanessa stepped forward. Her voice softened. You weren't just seen. You were heard. And believed. Just as the officers turned to leave, Natalie's voice returned. Small. Broken. Wait. The lounge fell silent. I need to confess something, she said. 8 complaints. All from women of color. I marked them as duplicates, or unverifiable, or outside the window, to protect our numbers. Robert knew. Gasps spread through the room like a ripple in glass. Carla? Vanessa asked. Confirmed, came the reply. We found those complaints. Natalie's voice is present in 2 audio logs. Robert's signature on 4. Natalie collapsed into a chair, hands trembling. I didn't know how to stop. I thought if I didn't go along, I'd be next. Vanessa approached slowly, voice even. You weren't just following. You lit the match. She paused. But I'm putting the fire out. Natalie broke down, no longer speaking. Vanessa turned to the entire room. Clients, officers, remaining staff. Ownership is more than documents or dollars. It's duty. My duty is to make sure no one else walks in here and gets erased. Carla returned, calm but firm. Full review authorized. Internal audit has begun. Ms. Clark, reform is in your hands. Vanessa looked to Maya, Keith, Zara, and Calvin, then back to the room. Then let's begin. Vanessa, you gave me a job, Tyler said quietly. I turned it into a shield for the wrong people. She stepped toward him, deliberate. Did Robert know? Tyler nodded slowly. He knew when not to ask questions. He knew who to avoid. Carla's voice came through, calm and precise. We've located 3 compliance logs that were tampered with post-escalation. Tyler's name is listed on all of them. Tyler didn't deny it. I deserve what's coming. I didn't speak up to save myself. I spoke because watching you today, I realized I've never worked for someone I respected. Vanessa didn't blink. You tried to have me removed. You silenced people who walked in with hope. And now you want grace? He shook his head. I want accountability. And I want you to know something else. Natalie wasn't working alone. There's a private client tag in the CRM. A label used to quietly mark certain profiles as problematic. That list, it's longer than you think. Carla's voice returned instantly. Retrieving it now. We're freezing system access and initiating a forensic trace. Vanessa turned to the room. This is why reform can't wait. Not next quarter, not after a workshop. It starts here. Where silence gave bias room to grow, we pull it up by the roots. Applause broke out again, not out of relief, but readiness. Maya stepped beside her. We're with you. Vanessa nodded. Then we begin, with truth. And slowly, the room that once echoed with quiet injustice transformed into something else, a place where confession wasn't weakness. It was the foundation of change. The dismissed staff were escorted out. Clients stayed, not because they had to, but because they cared. A summit compliance officer approached with a document. These are the board-approved actions to begin transition. Vanessa read it, nodded once. We start now. Her voice rang out. Effective immediately. All high-net-worth branches will implement verbal conduct audits. Silence will no longer hide misconduct. Today, this branch leads that change. Carla's voice chimed in from the tablet. Corporate has terminated Edward Pierce's account and launched an investigation into his firm for discriminatory practices. Vanessa glanced toward the chair where Edward once sat. He had status, she said, but not integrity. Maya looked at her. What happens tomorrow? We build something that doesn't just react to harm, but prevents it. Keith added, You didn't just fire a team. You exposed a mindset. Vanessa smiled faintly. Then we keep exposing it, until nothing can hide in the dark. From the back, a voice rose, fragile, older. There's more. All turned. An elderly man in a summit badge stepped forward. My name's Richard. I trained some of them. Lisa, Robert, Natalie. We never used the word race, but we taught them how to profile without saying it. He swallowed. I helped build this. I want to help tear it down. Vanessa asked, Why now? He met her eyes. Because you fought with your voice, and I never used mine. She nodded. Then use it now. He turned to the officers. I'd like to testify and rebuild the training model. Carla's voice returned. 17 flagged clients. 15 were Black or Hispanic. No violations on record. Data is in audit now. Vanessa closed her eyes. This wasn't a moment. It was a system. Zara spoke softly. And you broke it. Vanessa looked around the lounge. And we'll keep breaking it, until justice isn't reactive, but expected. Then she turned toward the doors and walked forward, past fear, past doubt, toward what came next.